Hello. Welcome back to Common Ground. My name is Catherine Vitale. I am a candidate for Boston City Council. Um, I am streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you're watching the replay on YouTube, please comment and let me know you watched. Please share the video. Please subscribe to the channel. If you're watching from Facebook, or Twitter, the YouTube channel is People's Press Media. Please go over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so that I'll be able to stream live from my phone while I'm out doing public actions. I started this show about a month ago. I am a right-leaning activist. I've been an activist for the past 2 years. And I realized kind of early on that, this whole mess between the right side and the left side, in politics is just an illusion and just, a game for the establishment, the elites, the government, however you want to, classify them. It's just a game for them in a way to keep us in a perpetual fight against each other so that we're not paying attention to what they're doing. So instead of looking at people who are on the political left side as my enemy, I chose to see it for what it actually is, which is we are all part of the 99%, and the government officials and the elites are the 1%, and it's us against them. And until we unite, people from all ends of the political spectrum, and come together to fight our common enemy, regardless of our differences of opinions with each other, then we're not going to win. Neither side is going to win. Until we can do that. So I started this show called Common Ground so that we could come here to have uncomfortable conversations. And when I started my left and right unite segment of the show, I had a co-host who is a left-leaning activist. Her name was Heidi. She had to leave the show because of a scheduling conflict. So I am always looking for anybody to be a guest on the show. If you want to suggest somebody to be a guest, or if you want me to talk about a specific topic, I'll pretty much talk about anything to do with current events, political issues, basically local issues. I don't really care to talk about anything that's happening in the national news, because if I can't see it with my own two eyes happening right in front of me, I don't even believe that it's real at this point. So, yeah, so that's what the show is about. It's about having uncomfortable conversations that we wouldn't be having otherwise. It's about, getting people to see things from a different point of view and stop looking at your neighbor as your enemy. So, tonight I'm going to be talking first about, I want to give you guys an update on court today. Me and Shannon had court at West Roxbury for, what is supposed to be the pre-trial stage of our case from when we got arrested at Boston Mayor Michelle Wu's house. For anybody who doesn't know, long story short, we started protesting Mayor Wu back in December of 2021. And because as soon as she got into office, she started enforcing very strict vaccine mandates on all Boston City workers. And we were helping the city workers fight back. She closed City Hall in the first week of January 2022, closed it for 2 weeks, claiming a spike in COVID cases. So we took our protests to her house, to in front of her house across the street, and kept going back. And it became a thing that lasted for 3 months, where we were protesting in front of her house. and she eventually wrote and got the city council to pass a new city ordinance to um, limit the hours of day that you're allowed to protest a targeted residence. So we were going there at 7 a.m. and they changed the time to you can't have any targeted residential picketing before 9 a.m., which 9 a.m. is the time that she goes to work. So she wouldn't be there. She claimed that she did this so that her neighbors could have peace and, um, all of that bullshit. But in reality, if we had gone there to protest at 9 a.m., she wouldn't be home. She would be at work. And if her neighbors are home, they wouldn't be getting any peace if we were there loudly protesting. So, yeah, we're obviously not going there at 9 o'clock because we're not here to just to upset your neighbors. We're here to shame you. So, we continued going, and there were 5 arrests because of this ordinance. The ordinance is, if you're cited, it's a civil infraction, so it's not a criminal offense, and you're not supposed to be arrested for it. You're supposed to get a fine, and there's a very detailed fine structure. And nobody ever got a fine. There were 5 arrests. Well, one person was arrested twice, Shannon, and her first arrest was dismissed and was deemed a wrongful arrest by the judge because they actually did charge her with the ordinance, which was a fuck up on their part, I think. They were just so adamant on needing to get rid of us because the mayor was putting her foot down that they were fucking up. And then they came back and no, it wasn't Judge Coffey. Judge Coffey actually was the first judge that dealt with the issue and wanted to throw it out right then and there. So Judge Coffey actually was fair with this situation. Um, but we didn't want it thrown out right then and there. We wanted to challenge why she got arrested in the first place, and we did, and it was deemed a wrongful arrest. So, anyway, we were arrested in June, 4 of us. 2 people were their cases were dismissed right away, which is questionable and insane because we all 4 of us were charged with disturbing the peace. So I don't understand why they were treated differently than us. There was speculation or a statement made by the DA, Kevin Hayden, that said that they used each of our like prior criminal records in that decision making, but the 2 of us whose cases are still going on, me and Shannon, we didn't have criminal records at all. And that's not exactly the case for the 2 that did get dismissed. So it's literally almost the opposite of what they said the reason was that the 2 got dismissed. But anyway, so our cases are still going on. This was back in June that we got arrested, and we had court today. We still don't have all the discovery from the DA's office. So it's been 11 months almost, and it doesn't look like it's ending in the near future still, which is very aggravating and stressful. I also have another case. I was arrested at the Massachusetts Department of Education. And then, I have other shit going on in my life, and I don't want to have to keep going to court every other month for some bullshit that I shouldn't have even been arrested for in the first place. But that's how the judicial system works in this country. And, if people continue to ignore it and, only put up a fight when they feel like they're directly being attacked, then this is how it's going to stay. So, it's well past the time that everybody needs to set the fuck up and start doing something. It's getting very frustrating, like month after month, asking people to show up for court support and seeing less and less people come every time. There's a lot of talk online. Where is everybody in person? court support is probably the easiest in-person action that anybody could ever do. So I don't know. I just think it's crazy. I mean, we're and mine and Shannon's case isn't the only one. We have Sean that's been arrested 3 times. We have um, Tommy, mass accountability, that's been, being targeted up in Salem and on the North Shore. There's First Amendment's being violated all over the place. And it's disgusting. And people should be outraged. And for some reason, they're not, or you're not. I don't know who's watching this. And it's pretty fucking frustrating. So anyway, yes, yes, yes. We are appreciative of those who come, because it's the same people pretty much every single time that come out. And they're not even necessarily people that live in Boston. They come from all over. Um, but it is the same people every single time. And we love you guys. And thank you, because it's like, I thank you because, it's mine and Shannon's case, but also thank you because you understand that the First Amendment violations affect everybody. So it actually matters very little who the defendant is in the case, or I mean, even the plaintiff, if you're on the offense. It matters very little who the parties are, is what I'm trying to say, and much more, what the principle of the case is and what the outcome is going to mean for everybody, because cases set precedents. And if one person or group of people goes down for a First Amendment situation, that's going to set a precedent for anybody else that ever gets in that situation, whether you're on the right or the left, whether you're gay or straight or black or white or whatever the fuck. The First Amendment is for everybody. This has to be a common ground issue. I don't care what your fucking stance is on anything. The First Amendment is for all of us, and it needs to be protected by all of us. So moving on. Nothing happened today. We need more discovery. The next date is in June. Let me know in the comments if I forgot any detail, and I'll go back to it. Anyway, the next thing that I would talk about, that a few people asked me to talk about, actually, that wasn't really a plan of mine to touch on until people asked me to talk about it. SATANCON. I don't really have. I guess I do have something to say. First Amendment. Do I think it's weird and creepy and scary that the biggest group of Satanists is coming to Boston this weekend? Yeah. Do I want to go protest it and be in the presence of all of that evil in one place? Absolutely fucking not. And I mean, I don't really know what I would be protesting anyway. I have no desire to be there. I don't want to be in that type of environment. And I know that there's probably going to be people there, maybe just preaching or passing out literature or something, and maybe not like necessarily protesting. But I mean, it's the First Amendment, right? And the whole thing about them suing Michelle Wu, and I don't know if the city tried to keep them out entirely, or if it's just that they tried to do like the ritual like prayer thing that happens at the city council meeting every week. But I mean, this is why there's supposed to be separation of church and state, right? So every week at the Boston City Council meeting, they have, various religious leader type people that come in and say a prayer, or do some kind of little thing before the meeting starts, and they should end that. They should, because now they're in a situation where they have, first of all, how many fucking lawsuits has Michelle Wu accumulated for the city, right? And I don't know when this whole like prayer thing started at the city council meetings, but it should stop, because now look, now they're in a situation where these Satanists wanted to come in to a city council meeting and do whatever it is that they do. I don't know if you would call it prayer or ritual or whatever, but are they wrong? Is it discrimination? Is it a First Amendment violation? Yeah. Why wouldn't it be? Just because we don't agree with their views? Um, I mean, I don't know that there's anything else to say about that. I stand by the First Amendment. I believe in the First Amendment. The First Amendment should not be violated. So, unfortunately, that means that even the people that we, you know or deem as evil still have the right to express their evil publicly. Um, what is this? They should end the prayer ceremony before every Wednesday city council meeting. They don't have time to let the public speak on Wednesdays, but you can watch a drawn out prayer ceremony and have musicals, showcases, etc. Get the fuck out of here. Exactly. End that shit. Period. I don't know. Like, does anybody know when that started? Like, how long has that been a thing? It needs to go. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about that. It's the First Amendment. So stay away if you don't agree with it. And if you think that the city should have kept them out, and you think that Michelle Wu or anybody at City Hall is justified for not wanting to let them come in, I don't agree with you, and I think that you should reconsider that if you think that you stand for the First Amendment. The First Amendment is free speech and free expression, and freedom to your beliefs, and freedom to exercise your religion in whatever way you see fit. So, they shouldn't be discriminated against, and they should end the prayer ceremony at the Boston City Council meetings. Maybe that could be one of my campaign things that I could talk about. That I would want to try to make happen. I don't think that there should be any prayers happening in the city council meetings for this very reason. Because what you allow with one group of people, you have to allow with all. And if we don't want, evil Satanists coming into City Hall, then we can't let the people that we deem to be good coming into City Hall to do the same exact thing. And you cannot, you can't police the First Amendment based on content of speech. You can't, have different rules for somebody based on what they're doing. I mean, what they're saying or what they're doing or whatever, even if, we disagree, we have to respect the fact that they have the same rights that we do. What else? Today we did a little protest at Boston Medical Center. There were just a few of us. There was a story that came out a few months ago about an anonymous patient, John Doe, that filed a lawsuit against Boston Medical Center for discrimination. It's an HIV patient, and he was refused treatment at Boston Medical Center because he refused to wear a mask. So, um, I think that most of us have been discriminated against at one point or another. Those of us who don't wear masks or, understand how the Constitution works and how public accommodation works. And, we know the feeling. This person actually was able to file the lawsuit, which is something that I'm hoping to be able to do at some point too, for the many places that have discriminated against me. But we saw this story, and it's obviously a very worthy cause. So we finally got around to going to protest about it, and um, it was a good protest. I wasn't really feeling I didn't have the energy to protest today. I wasn't really feeling like going. Um, but I'm glad that I did because it turned out to be a really great um, demonstration. We were making some noise, but we weren't really chanting anything today. We were kind of just talking to the people that were walking by. I streamed it live on Facebook, so you can go watch it if you want. Um, we had some conversations with people. I attempted to talk to almost every single person in scrubs walking to the hospital. Um, I was walking alongside people, asking them if they work for the hospital, how they feel about the hospital being discriminatory toward their patients, if they're aware that the hospital is being discriminatory toward their patients, and that they turn down um, treatment for an HIV patient because he refused to wear a mask. And there were two out of probably like 10 to 15 people that appeared to be medical professionals working in the hospital. Two of them actually showed some concern and asked for more information, and said that they would spread awareness throughout the hospital. So hopefully they stick to their word and they do talk about it when they go into work. They seemed genuine. Everybody else brushed us off, laughed at us, shook their heads, said that, we didn't care about protecting other people, all this stuff. There were some arguments with some randoms in the street. And, we were shaming people that were laughing at us because that's what needs to be done. And almost immediately after we showed up and started our demonstration, um, some boy, I don't even want to give him the privilege of me calling him a man. Some boy with a mask on was staring at us. He looked like he was probably laughing, but he had like a N95 mask covering like his whole face. He looks like a duck. Uh and he seemed to be laughing at us. So I turned the camera on him and I said, "Why are you wearing that mask outside?" And I don't remember what his response was. I know at one point he said, "I love my mask." um, but he almost immediately started dancing. And then this boy proceeded to dance for the next 2 hours that we were there. Almost 3 hours, I think. It was pretty ridiculous. He was breaking a sweat. Um, I did have some conversation with him here and there. I was clowning him. I was shaming him. Um, I was making, light of the situation, but also shaming him at the same time. And it was just ridiculous. He nonstop danced the whole time, did not care to have any conversation. When we did have conversation, the most he said to me was, "I love my mask." I did ask him, like, what are you doing? Like, are you protesting? Like, what, dancing? And he's like, "Yeah, I'm protesting anti-maskers." Okay. So we tried to get into the conversation about masking a little bit. He didn't have any answers. Um, I asked him something and he said, "I don't research." So Like, we know, first of all, but yeah, he said I don't research, so whatever. I was just clowning him. And I did call him a bitch. He got upset about that. He said that I was hostile. I said that it was hostile that he doesn't care about human rights. And he did try to like get extra close to us with his dancing, and a police officer spoke to him and told him he could do what he wants and we could do what we want, and like just don't provoke anything. Like, don't get in their face like that. And then what else happened? We did have the cops called on us, I guess. A cop came up, said that there was a call, told us that it was illegal to use sound amplification devices in the city without a permit. He cited Boston City Ordinance 26-16.8. The use of amplification devices in public without a permit, um and I made a big deal about that, and then I just started yelling to the people walking by without my megaphone. This is what's happening. Like, we're out here trying to tell you the truth, and they will do whatever they can to silence and censor the truth. Pay attention, people. I was saying a week ago we were protesting at B2 at the Roxbury police station, and the people that we were protesting with, like, no shade to them, I showed up in support of their protest. So this is absolutely nothing against them, and I feel like I need to make that point clear, that when I compare how two different sides or two different opinionated groups are treated by the police or by elected officials or whatever, that is not to throw shade on the other side. That's not to say that I think that what they're doing is wrong, or, should be, um, or that I think that somebody should be enforcing what they're enforcing on the other side. So it's just to say, like, it's just to point out the hypocrisy, and to say, this is biased policing. This is selective outrage, selective prosecution, targeted, we're targeted. Um we have a different opinion than that of the establishment, and because of that, they go to like ridiculous lengths to silence us. I mean, the mayor of Boston wrote a city ordinance and the city council passed it to silence us. Do you understand how many elected officials in Boston and in Massachusetts have had protesters at their home? Do you understand that all that we did was make music and like shout things in front of Michelle Wu's house? We hardly ever even got within 10 feet of her. There were way too many police for anything bad to ever happen, and nothing bad would have happened even if there weren't that many police, because we weren't there to be violent. We weren't there to be harmful. We were there to shame her verbally, because that's the most that we can do. Um and they have made absolutely every effort that they can to silence us. And those same efforts aren't taken for other groups that are in line with their agenda. And I'm not saying that to say that these actions should be taken against those groups. I'm saying that to say they're handling it correctly when it comes to the other groups, and they need to handle us the same way. They need to stay away from us in our First Amendment protected speech. You're not supposed to be able to be charged with disturbing the peace while you're protesting. Why are we being charged with disturbing the peace while we're protesting? Protests are supposed to be loud. Public events happen all the time. So I said to the people outside today that I was at a protest at B2 a week ago, and there were probably about 50, 60 people there. They had speakers on tripods They had multiple megaphones and they had microphones, and they were loud with these sound amplification devices. A police officer never even approached this group of people. Okay. They didn't approach us either when we had actually separated from them, because they were protesting down the street a little bit from the police station. And you know how we are with direct action. We said we need to be making noise in front of the police station. That's who we're protesting, right? So we went over and made some noise in front of the police station. Nobody said anything to us either, because now we're protesting the right thing. Now we're protesting the thing that is allowed to be protested at the moment. And this is the thing where, this could turn sour, and it could turn into, or like they want it to turn into a fight situation, a back and forth situation of, why aren't you treating them the same way that you're treating us, and perpetuate this fight with them. But I am not fighting with them. I have nothing against those people protesting, and I don't think that a cop should have approached them. And I don't think that a cop should ever be approaching us to tell us that we can't use our megaphones in public. I've had 2 megaphones stolen from me. Sean has had a megaphone stolen from him by the Boston police, both of us. And it's not right. It's not fair. Treat us the same way everybody else is being treated, because you're treating everybody else appropriately, and you're silencing us. And it's very dangerous to silence anybody, because today it's us. Tomorrow it will be somebody that you do agree with. And it is going to affect you, even if you don't think that it affects you today with this issue. It's going to affect you at some point with some issue. And if you want to silence one group of people for saying something that you disagree with, then you're opening up yourself to be silenced by somebody who disagrees with you, that has more power than you in the moment. Yeah, so the cop came to us and told us that it was illegal for us to use the megaphones. But then he left, and nothing really came of that. And what else happened before we left? We did actually get, I think, like 3 different sets of people to take off their masks that they were wearing outside. And I am still so surprised at the amount of people who are wearing masks outside on a nice, bright, sunny day. It's so disheartening and discouraging and upsetting. And like, you could probably tell by my attitude on my face. Today, I'm not in the greatest mood. People are really disappointing. Being out in public and seeing people still in masks is aggravating and frustrating, but it's even more frustrating when it's people who get it. Like, there were a couple people today that were like, yeah, fuck the masks, but they got a mask around their chin. I'm like, then stop doing it, please. Like, you are the problem. The more people that just keep doing it just so that they don't have to have confrontation, like, you're hurting all of us. Have confrontation, be uncomfortable. You have to, literally, like, if you value freedom, you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not in the greatest mood right now, and I just had a conversation with somebody at the store that really altered my great day that I was having. I just really wish that people could see the bigger picture. I wish that everything wasn't such a stonewall when trying to, like, get through to people. And that doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying. But, there'll probably be a lot of days like this where I'm a little bit sad, because Um, I just want freedom, and I want my kids to have freedom, and I don't want my kids to have to be an adult in a world like this, or be adults in a world like this, where we can be violated so easily, like on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, depending on where you're going and what you're doing. I don't want my kids to have to live like this. And I don't want them to be blind to it either. I feel like the generations before us were blind to all of this. They didn't pay attention to what was happening, and um they didn't stand up for injustices. They just let everything, slide and ignored it all because it didn't directly affect them. So now we're here today. Um And I was just going to say something else. God damn it. What was I just going to say? Shit. Let me think. Causing trouble. I want to talk about causing trouble. Okay? Because ironically enough, when I was a teenager, my nickname was Trouble. And I feel like people so easily misunderstand honesty and truth and conviction. And I have this thing behind me that I made or wrote or whatever. He who dares not offend cannot be honest. And it's probably one of like the most important quotes that I've ever heard, that like resonates with me the most, because throughout my teenage years, and even my early adult years, I would be in a lot of situations where people would say that I was causing drama or looking for fights or arguments or causing trouble or whatever. And it's just like I would be like, why do they think this about me? Like, why do they think that I like feed off of drama? Like, I don't want to fight with people. People just pick fights with me. People just don't like the things that I say. It's not me like trying to provoke people or trying to fight with them. It's just that I'm being honest with them and they don't like what I'm saying. And it took me a long time, and I mean a really long time. Like, it was just in the past 2 years that I've realized this very quote is that, like, genuinely, honestly, honestly, people really can't handle the truth. People really can't handle an honest person. And it's really hard to come to that realization that, like, if you are an honest, truthful person, you will be hated. And, people will cut you off, and people will talk about you, and people will literally hate you for being honest because they can't handle the truth. And there's so many situations that I can recall in my life where, I've just been dumbfounded at how badly I get treated by people for my honesty. It like almost makes me want to cry right now, because people that I've been close with, literally have stopped talking to me because they've deemed me being honest with them, with me insulting them or talking shit about them. And like, it's never that. Like, I'm not that person. I don't I don't hate people. I don't hate anybody. I hate politicians because they're ruining our lives and they're violating us. But like, I love people. And when I feel like somebody needs to hear something, or I feel like somebody hasn't heard something that might be beneficial to them or might make them think a little bit deeper about a situation or anything like that, then I tell it to them. Because what fucking good am I if I think that a piece of information could be helpful to somebody, or hearing some type of sentiment could be helpful to somebody, and I don't say it? I feel like that would make me a bad person to not say something if I knew that somebody needs to hear it, right? And it's like, one of the easiest examples that I can think of is when, somebody um is often praised for doing a good job when they're not actually doing a good job, right? And I'm the one that's going to be honest about it. I'm the one that's not going to praise the person if they're not doing a good job. I'm going to, like, offer my help if possible, or if I'm prompted to say something, anything, I'm going to be honest, and be like, no, you need to do better. And that's not to shit on somebody. That's to be honest. I appreciate when somebody's honest with me. I appreciate when, I could have done something better or handled something in a better or more productive way. And somebody comes to me and says, like, here's what I think about the situation, and maybe it would have turned out better if you did it this way. You don't have to take it as an insult when somebody's trying to be honest with you. And the way that you react and the way that you feel about how somebody about, something that somebody says to you is completely 100% up to you. And so many people are just so conditioned to be insulted and feel insulted when somebody's just simply being honest with them. And so, it brings me to now and tonight in this conversation that I just had with this person tonight that didn't go well at all. What she said to me, like, about me and some protesters and shit, like, you guys just go and cause trouble. You guys just go and start shit. Like, that's what you do. You guys get arrested. You just go places and start shit and cause trouble. That's what you're known for. And with the TikTok from the jail, from the House of Corrections the other day, and all the hate that I'm getting in the comments for that TikTok, it's not phasing me, the hate, because it's getting me visibility. So thank you. But this causing trouble, the people who consistently are saying, you're just a troublemaker, you're just starting trouble, you just want to you just want attention or whatever. If you're somebody who stands up against injustices, and you're somebody who has ever stood for a cause, showed up to advocate for something, showed up to a hearing for whatever reason or another to give a testimony, how do you dare tell me that what I do is causing trouble? Have the respect and the decency to understand that even though you maybe don't agree with the issue that I'm passionate about standing for or against, but I could just as simply say that when you fight for your cause, you're just causing trouble. Like, I'm asserting my rights at every single checkpoint. If that's causing trouble, then what are you doing? What are you doing when you're protesting something? What are you doing when you're advocating for something? when you're giving testimony or you're speaking out against a government official or the police or whatever. I could say that you're causing trouble. And I just hate that that's what everybody resorts to, is saying you're just causing trouble. Because how else do we solve any problems or find any solutions if we're not being disruptive and causing trouble? Like, don't brush my actions off because you don't agree with my message. It's just frustrating. And I wish that I wasn't talking into an echo chamber. Because I want somebody in the comments to argue with me. Because a message like this is exactly the point of this show. Is I want people who disagree with me to tell me why they disagree with me, and for us to have a back and forth conversation about why we disagree. Thank you, Karina. And it's disheartening and discouraging. Doesn't mean that it's ever going to stop me from causing the trouble that I cause. I just wish that people would understand the bigger picture and not just brush it off as something so insignificant. I think that's about it. People love those sweet laced. Love me some sweet laced. Cop Cam Junkie is going to SATANCON. I don't know why. I mean, I guess maybe to get some footage and see like what the deal is, but I wouldn't want to be in the presence of those types of people. Creeps me out. Well, I mean, if they're Satanists, I would assume that hell is where they want to go. Right. Yeah, this too, I'm sure. And everybody will play into it and be fooled. Per usual. Thank you for all the comments, Boston Ray. There's nothing to play out to. There's nothing going on. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm sorry that I'm so sad. Oh, now I lost that comment. Damn it. Yeah, so I think that was all that I had to talk about tonight. I think that I have a few people that want to be guests next week to talk about some anti-DCF stuff. So that's always interesting to hear people's DCF stories, because it takes a lot of courage, I think, to tell these stories and open yourself up to so much judgment and scrutiny by people who speculate and people, who usually haven't been in a situation like that. But yeah, I think that unless anybody in the comments wants to talk about anything else or ask any questions, I'm probably done for tonight. I'm exhausted. It's been a really long day, and I have a whole lot of stuff to get through this weekend. And Monday is a big day, the May Day rally for workers' rights. And there's going to be a lot of speakers there, I hear. And the entire city of Boston gets to start their outdoor dining on Monday. Oh, no. not the entire city. The rest of the city outside of the North End gets to start their outdoor dining on Monday, which reminds me, there was a video put out today by the North End restaurant owners that I need to drop everywhere that I can. I don't know that I can put it on YouTube because it's not my video, but I can definitely put the link to it on my social media, and everybody should go watch the video. I saw it the other day. It's a great video. It's really got me a little emotional. Even more so because we talked yesterday about how I feel about the North End's resistance, and it's not enough, and they need to fucking do more. And the residents need to look at the bigger picture rather than being so fucking selfish and in their own shit and letting the government manipulate them into fighting with their own neighbors. Yeah, so I'm going to post that probably right after I get off of here. So definitely go check out that video. And per usual, if you're not already subscribed to the channel on YouTube, it's called People's Press Media. Please go over and subscribe. I am running for Boston City Council at large. We start collecting signatures next week, and we only have 3 weeks to collect signatures. And Sean Nelson is also running for Boston City Council at large. And Padma Scott is running for Boston City Council District 7. So she is running to take Tanya Fernandez Anderson's seat. And Sean and I are running to take 2 of the 4 at-large seats. We learned last week that Frank Baker is not running for re-election, which is really upsetting to a lot of us because he's the only one that had any balls to stand up to Wu, for the most part, loudly, good, unapologetically. So that's pretty sad. But, I think that, hopefully, I've heard of like quite a few candidates so far. I hope that there's a lot more to come, because I think that instead of, you always hear the politicians telling you got to vote, go vote, go vote, go vote, just vote. I hate those fucking signs all over the place that say just vote, because nobody should ever just vote. You do your research and know your candidates before you vote. Don't just vote. But in this situation, especially in an off year, a municipal election, don't just vote, run. If you're passionate about making change in your city, town, whatever, run for office. If you need anybody to co-sign you, I'm right here. If you need anybody to validate your feeling of, potentially being able, good enough, competent enough, whatever, like, I will gladly help you validate those thoughts, because I am in no way do I see myself as smarter than anybody or more professional than anybody or any politician, politically corrupt. Yeah. I don't see myself as that either, but I don't see myself as your typical politician, right? I am real. I'm honest. I make mistakes. I talk funny. I stutter. I probably sound stupid half the time that I'm talking, but I don't care. I need for people to run for office, and who am I to say that out loud without doing it myself, right? I think as many people should run as possible, and I think we need a whole new fucking Boston City Council. They all suck. So why not run? And if anybody who believes in what we do, aligns with us, or even just agrees that we should stop looking at the political world as 2 separate sides that need to be against each other, then let's team up and run as a block. Let's do it together. Let's build a whole new city council before we're even elected. um, I definitely think that activists should run and people who are passionate about making change. There's such a stigma about needing to be a certain type of person to run for a political office, and it needs to end. It needs to stop being that way. Because then that's how we get to where we are today, where our government is hardcore violating the shit out of us, and we can't do anything about it because they're all fucking lawyers and career politicians. We need to end that and start getting regular ass people into office, even if it's not me. Any other regular ass person that is not going to be bought, that's not going to be manipulated, that's not going to subscribe to the mainstream narrative, and you're going to stand in conviction with whatever you feel and believe is right. That's the type of person that needs to be in office. Somebody who's going to listen to the people, listen to their heart, and, do the job the way that it was intended to be done when this government was built, and not do it as a famous celebrity who has all this power to fuck with people's lives. So, if you were contemplating running for office, fucking do it, please. But so far we have 3 of us that are gonna run together and promote each other while we're promoting ourselves, and we start collecting signatures next week. If anybody wants to help, let me know. Me and Sean each have to get 1,500. Padma has to get 200. And next week's going to be a very busy week. So I need to get some sleep. I will see you all possibly over the weekend if I end up out somewhere and live streaming while I'm out. And other than that, I'll see you on Monday at 10 o'clock or earlier in the day if I'm outside on Monday. Probably at the May Day rally. So thank you for watching. I'll see you when I see you. Bye.